Here is a question most of us have never once stopped to ask. What did people carry their groceries, wrap their gifts, and pack their lunches in before the house quietly filled up with plastic? In Japan, for a few hundred years, the answer to all three was the same object: one square of cloth, folded and knotted a handful of different ways. It is called furoshiki, and a good cotton one costs about the price of a paperback, or nothing at all if you use a large scarf you already own. Before the day is out, I am going to hand you 9 real jobs it does, each one canceling something you currently rebuy. And the last job on the list, the 9th, is the one the cloth is literally named for. That is the one that got me. One cloth is enough. Now go and look at the drawer this cloth is up against. In most kitchens, there is one, and it is full of things you pay for over and over without ever really deciding to. A roll of plastic wrap that runs out and gets replaced. A wad of plastic shopping bags stuffed under the sink, gift wrap, ribbon, and tape that come out every December and hit the trash by New Year. And a slowly growing pile of tote bags you never meant to collect, multiplying on the coat hooks. None of it costs much on any single day, and that is exactly how it gets you. A couple of dollars at the register, a couple more the next week, a fresh roll of wrapping paper every winter, and across a year it quietly adds up to real money, all of it spent on things that end their short lives in the trash. A square of indigo cotton runs you maybe $10 to $20 once, and then it simply keeps working. This is not some clever new idea dreamed up to sell you a lifestyle. The plain cloth wrap is genuinely old. Back in the 700s, more than 1,200 years ago, cloths like this were already being used in Japan to protect precious objects, and a few of those early wrapping cloths still survive today in the old imperial storehouse in Nara. Centuries later, in the Edo period, traveling merchants carried their entire stock knotted into these squares of cloth, often stamped with their own trademark, hauling goods from town to town on foot. It was ordinary. It was everywhere. Right up into the 1950s and early 60s, the average Japanese household still kept around 20 of these cloths on hand, the way you might keep a stack of dish towels in a drawer. Then the free plastic bag showed up at the checkout counter, and in about one generation, 20 cloths a house fell to almost none. So here is what I want to do. I am going to walk you through the 9 jobs one square of this cloth actually does. In the order I would teach them, the easiest ones first. Every one of them is real. Everyone is still done in Japan today. And everyone quietly cancels something sitting in that drawer. Keep a running count in your head as we go, because I promised you a 9th job the cloth is named after, and I intend to make good on it. Let us start with the one almost everybody reaches for first. Number 1 is the job the cloth gets used for more than any other, and it is the grocery bag. Take your square of cloth and lay it out flat like a diamond with a corner pointing at you. Bring 2 opposite corners together and tie them once, then do the same with the other 2 corners. A plain square knot each time, which is the same knot as a shoelace bow if you pull it all the way tight instead of leaving the loops. What you are left with is a bag with 2 looped handles and a deep pouch in the middle, and it will hold far more than it looks like it should. The reason is simple. A plastic bag hangs all the weight from 2 thin handles, but a knotted cloth spreads the load of your apples and oranges and cans across the whole diagonal of the fabric, so it carries heavy without cutting into your hand. In my grandmother's house, the cloth folded by the front door was simply the shopping bag. It went out empty and came back full, and nobody thought twice about it. That one job alone quietly retires the wad of plastic bags under your sink and most of the tote pile on the coat hooks. Number 2 is wrapping a gift, and this is where the cloth stops being a bag and starts being beautiful. Set a boxed gift in the center of the cloth, turned so it sits like a diamond on the fabric. Fold the near corner and the far corner up and over the box, then take the two side corners, bring them to the top, and tie them in that same square knot so the knot itself becomes the bow. No tape, no scissors, no ribbon, and it takes about 30 seconds once your hands know the moves. And here is the part I did not expect. The wrapping paper you buy gets torn off in 3 seconds and stuffed in the trash, gone forever, every birthday and every December. The cloth does the opposite. It becomes part of the gift and the person keeps it. Or by old custom, you fold it up and take it home to wrap the next one. One square can wrap gift after gift for years. In Japan, the wrapping is treated as part of the gift itself, a small act of care, not something you rip apart and throw away. Number 3 is carrying bottles, and this is the one that makes people at a dinner party ask where you got it. Say you are bringing 2 bottles of wine to a friend's house. Lay them down on the cloth end to end, base to base along the diagonal with a small gap between them. Roll the cloth tightly around the 2 of them, stand the whole bundle upright so the bottles rise side by side, then cross the loose ends over the top and tie them into a handle. Now you are holding 2 bottles in one hand by a neat cloth grip, and they are cushioned against each other so they never clank. One bottle works the same way with a shorter wrap and a loop tied at the neck. That is a job you currently pay for twice. Once for the stiff paper gift bag, and once for the bubble sleeve, and both of them go straight into the recycling before the night is even over. Those first 3 are the everyday carries. The next 3 are where one cloth quietly starts doing the work of 2 things at once, and that is the point where this stopped being a nice idea to me and started being genuinely clever. Number 4 is packing a lunch, and this is the first job where one cloth does 2 things at once. Set your lunchbox in the middle of the cloth, fold the near and far corners over the top of it, then bring the 2 side corners up and tie them in a knot right over the lid. That knot does something a bag cannot. It holds the box level and clamps the lid shut, so your rice and your soup ride flat, and nothing tips or leaks on the way to work. Then lunchtime comes, and here is the second job. You untie the knot, spread the same cloth out flat on the table, and set the box down on it. The wrapping just became your placemat. If a few crumbs land on it, it is also your napkin, and on the way home, it is a cleaning cloth for the empty box. 1 square of fabric wrapped your lunch, carried it level, set your place, and wiped up after you. Against all of that, a sheet of plastic wrap and a paper napkin start to look like a poor trade. Number 5 is carrying the awkward things a plastic bag simply cannot handle. A watermelon, a stack of library books, a bundle too round or too heavy for thin handles that stretch and split. There is an old carry for exactly this, and it is worth seeing. You set the watermelon in the center of the cloth, gather all 4 corners up over the top of it, and tie them in opposing pairs so the fabric cradles the whole round shape from underneath, with a loop of cloth left on top to carry it by. The heavier and the rounder the load, the better this works, because the weight settles into a sling of fabric instead of hanging off 2 handles that a melon would tear right through. I have carried a whole watermelon home this way, swinging from one hand like a little basket, and the cloth did not so much as strain. If this is the kind of thing you enjoy, one plain old method at a time and nothing to go out and buy, that is most of what I do on this channel. Subscribe and the next one will find you. Now back to the cloth. Number 6 is protecting the things you are afraid to break. When you move house or pack away the good glasses and the ceramics for the season, the drawer answer is a roll of bubble wrap and a stack of packing paper, used once and thrown out. A cloth does a lot of that same job and keeps doing it for years. Roll each glass in a layer of fabric, or lay several plates in a stack with a fold of cloth between each one, and the padding cushions them and keeps them from knocking against each other. It will not match bubble wrap for a rough, long-distance shipment, but for storing your good glasses or moving them across town, wrapped in cloth, they come through better than you would expect. It is soft, it is thick, and unlike a sheet of plastic, it is still there for the next move and the one after that. That is 6 jobs from 1 square of cloth. 3 left, and the last one, number 9, is the one this whole cloth is named after. That is the one I have been saving. Number 7 does not need a single knot. Spread the cloth out flat, and it is a small tablecloth for a side table, or a topper that dresses up a plain shelf, or a dust cover you lay over the good dishes so they do not gather grime between holidays. Fold it around a bare cushion, tie the corners neatly at the back, and it is a cushion cover you can change with your mood and wash in a minute. Pin a good one to the wall and it is a piece of art. None of these are a stretch. A square of cloth has always been furniture as much as it is a bag, and every one of these quietly stands in for something you would otherwise buy: a disposable table cover, a cheap cushion sleeve, a bit of wall decor that cost more than it should have. Number 8 is the one you can wear, and it might be the most useful of the lot. Around your neck or your shoulders, a large cloth is a scarf or a light shawl against a cold train or a hard sun. Over your head it is a covering. And here is the trick that saves you on an ordinary afternoon. You are out, you buy more than you planned, and you have nothing to carry it in. So you take the scarf off your neck, tie 2 quick knots, and the thing you were wearing is now a bag. The one cloth on your body is also your backup bag, your picnic blanket, and your sunshade, and it folds down to nothing in a pocket when you do not need it. That is the plastic bag at the till you never have to ask for. Which brings us, at last, to number 9, the one this whole cloth is named after, the one I have made you wait for, and the one that genuinely stopped me when I first learned it. The word is furoshiki. It breaks cleanly into 2 pieces: furo, which means bath, and shiki, which means to spread, bath spread, a wrapping cloth, a shopping bag, a gift wrap, all of it, named after spreading something on the floor of a bath. Here is why. The name is traditionally traced back about 600 years to a bathhouse. In the Muromachi period, the shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu built a grand bath at his residence in Kyoto and invited the feudal lords to use it. They would undress to bathe, and to keep their fine robes from getting mixed up with everyone else's, each lord wrapped his own clothes in a cloth printed with his family crest. He would spread that same cloth on the floor of the changing room, stand on it while he undressed, then bundle his clothes back into it when he was done. A cloth you spread on the floor of the bath. Furo, shiki. Later, when public bathhouses opened to everyone in the Edo period, ordinary people did exactly the same thing, and the name spread across the whole country along with the habit. So think about what number 9 really is. It is the oldest job on this entire list, and it is a job you very likely still do today without ever once making the connection. The plastic bag you stuff your wet swimsuit and your damp towel into at the pool. The gym bag you shove your clothes into at the locker room. That is the exact task this cloth was born to do 600 years ago on a bathhouse floor. Spread it out, stand on it, bundle your clothes, carry them home. The most modern feeling, most throwaway habit you have, and the cloth was doing it for the shogun's court centuries before anyone had ever seen a sheet of plastic. That is the 9th job. That is the one the cloth is named for. And once you see it, the whole drawer of plastic starts to look like a very short, very forgettable chapter in a much older story. One cloth, and it was always enough. Now let me be straight with you about what this cloth cannot do, because a video that only sells you the good parts is not worth your time. The first limit is the big one. A furoshiki is cloth, not plastic wrap. It is not a seal. It will not hold soup. It will not save a dripping, greasy, or leaking load. And if you wrap something wet in it, the wet comes straight through and the smell comes with it. Anyone who tells you a square of cotton replaces cling film for last night's oily leftovers is not being honest with you. For wet or greasy food, you still want a lidded container. The cloth is for dry goods, boxes, bundles, bottles, and gifts. And inside that lane, it is superb. Outside it, reach for something else and do not feel bad about doing so. The second limit is honest too. The ties take practice. The first time you try the 2-bottle wrap or a clean gift fold, your hands will feel clumsy and the knots will sit crooked, and you will wonder what you are doing wrong. The answer is nothing. It is a skill, a small one, and it takes a handful of tries before your fingers simply know the moves without you watching them. It really comes down to just 2 knots, a flat square knot and a simple single knot, plus a handful of folds, and those cover almost everything on this list. Give it a weekend and you have them for life. And one more piece of honesty, because I promised you the truth and not a flag to wave. Wrapping things in cloth was never only a Japanese idea. People all over the world bundled their goods into a square of fabric long before any of them had a name for it. What Japan actually did was keep the habit when others let it slide, give it a name, and build a whole quiet grammar around it, named folds, named knots, and an etiquette that treats the wrapping as part of the gift. The cloth is a human thing. The art of it is the part worth borrowing. So why did almost all of us forget? Not because the cloth failed. It did not lose a fair fight. The free plastic bag arrived at the register with an entire industry behind it, cheap and disposable, and handed to you whether you asked for it or not. A square of cloth you already owned had no salesman and no advertisement because there was no second sale in it, and nobody makes money reminding you of something you already have. It was never hidden from you. It was simply never sold to you, which leaves you in a strange and lucky spot. You almost certainly already own a dozen of these. Every large scarf in your closet, every clean dish towel, every square of spare fabric folded in a drawer is a furoshiki that nobody ever taught you to tie. You do not need to go and buy the solution. You need to learn 2 knots. For a few hundred years, this was passed hand to hand, grandmother to grandchild, until it very nearly slipped through the fingers of a single generation. You can pick it back up. Tie 1 cloth this week, teach it to 1 person you live with, and the whole thing keeps going. So tell me down in the comments, how many plastic bags and rolls of wrap are stashed under your sink right now? And did anyone in your family ever carry things in a wrapping cloth? I read them. And if you want to keep learning the old, plain, nothing-to-buy way of doing ordinary things, subscribe and stay a while, because that is the whole point of this channel, keeping what already worked. 1 cloth, 9 jobs. 1 cloth is enough.